Monday. Happy Huddle Monday. Happy Huddle Monday. Okay, there we go. All right. So we have a program today, and we're not going to be too long. So for our opening prayer and scripture, I am going to call up Minister Caroline, who is going to come and give us our opening prayer and scripture. Let's give her a hand.
Good evening, Huddle family. Right now, I want to thank God for Reverend Sharpton. Bless him from his head to his feet with divine healing. Let all bless Attorney Hardy, our young people, and for all our leaders. Those who are ill and the ones recovering by war, those who are in prison or jail. I pray that earthly confusion and mental illness and gun violence, those affected by local crimes and hate crimes, would also the ones that experiencing financial disabilities. Father, you're in charge. Everything that we need, you have. And right now, I'm going to read the scripture, 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 12, 15, 17 through 21. Dear brothers and sisters, honor those who are your leaders in the Lord's work. They work hard among you and give you spiritual guidance. Show them great respect and wholehearted love because of their work, and live peacefully with each other. Brothers and sisters, we urge you to warn those who are lazy, encourage those who are timid, take tender care of those who are weak. Be patient with everyone. See that no one pays back evil for evil, but always try to do good to each other and to all people. Never stop praying. Be thankful in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus. Do not strife the Holy Spirit. Do not scoff at prophecy, but test everything that is said. Hold on to what is good. So we should always be watchful for what's going on around us, but know that all is in God's hand. And as we say prayers for everyone, know that whatever's going on in the world, God is in charge, and God will take care of it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Minister Caroline, for giving us our prayer and our scripture for tonight. Now we are going to have our chair and director report by, is it you, Ashley, or is it them? Oh, okay, then it's not our chair. It is our co-founder and the NAN National Director of Membership, Ms. Dominique Sharpton. Let's give her a hand.
Thank you, Christian. Good evening, everyone. So many of you know it's the season of holiday season. Thanksgiving holiday is amongst us, and First of all, we want to wish you and your families a very happy Thanksgiving. We had kicked off our Thanksgiving annual holiday events this past week on Thursday. Many of you know that we will be here at the House of Justice serving in our annual Thanksgiving holiday event. And we invite all of you to join us, you and your families to join us. This is not a day where we want to give thanks without the thanks of those who have been in service and in the action. So we invite you and your families to join us. You can donate, you can volunteer to serve, you can come and just eat with us, but we invite you to come and celebrate and fellowship with us as we have a lot to be thankful for. We got a lot of work to do, and we have to stay actively involved in the pursuit for justice and equality. So it is important for us to continue to come together, to convene, to fellowship with one another, and to continue to wrap our arms around our brothers and sisters, especially during the holidays. So I hope that you'll join us here at the House of Justice on Thursday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And as always, you can call us here toll free anytime, 877-626-4651 to get more information and how you can be a part of the action. On last week, Thursday, we held our annual Thanksgiving free turkey giveaway, and we had hundreds of people come to the House of Justice to get a free turkey to aid in their preparation for their Thanksgiving meals, and it was a great success. We were thankful that members of Nan Youth Huddle was there and present that helped to distribute the turkeys. Christian was here, that was working very hard to make sure that everyone was served, and everyone who got on the line received a turkey or received information as to how they can continue to join us and stay involved. So thank you to Katrina Jefferson and the House of Justice staff and all those who volunteered to help make sure that that event ran smoothly, and it was a great success. We were joined by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. Reverend Sharpton was here personally, and it was just an amazing thing to do for the community of our community, and of course to open our doors to provide a service through action to our community. So thank you to all who participated, and thank you to all that donated turkeys for us to make sure that we were able to service our community effectively. Reverend Sharpton was in Jackson, Mississippi on today, where he delivered the eulogy for Dexter Wade. Ashley Sharpton was with him, and a contingency of National Action Network also traveled to Jackson, Mississippi with the Rev. Many of you know Dexter Wade was a 37-year-old father whose death was kept secret from his family for months after he was buried in an unmarked grave. The service took place today in Jackson, Mississippi. Attorney Benjamin Crump was also there, and they delivered a national call to action during the ceremony at the New Horizon Church International. Basically, the call to action is that we have no days off here. Like, we've got to stay committed, vigilant, and active in the fight for justice and equality, no matter where we are in the country, no matter where the issues lie. We understand that they are prevalent to us and that we are literally being destroyed. Our communities are being destroyed by the lack of policy, the lack of attention, and the lack of accountability that's often had when we face tragedies and then when we are treated unjustly. And so in this situation, yet again, Reverend Sharpton answered the call by the family who asked him to deliver the eulogy following Mr. Wade's horrific death and the outrageous circumstances surrounding the case. We're also asking for a national investigation in this situation, as this brother was struck down fatally by an off-duty police officer, and the situation was covered up for many, many weeks. Who all were involved, everyone who was involved, it wasn't a one-man show, should be held accountable for what happened to Mr. Wade and what happened to not alerting his family properly as to what happened to him. Like I said, he was fatally struck by an off-duty police officer back in March, and the authorities told the coroner's office that no one had called to claim the body, despite the fact that his mother filed a missing persons report and was actively searching for him. He was buried several months later in a field, and his mother didn't find out of his tragic fate until this fall. So it was months after he was actually killed. So we are monitoring this case very closely. We're very involved, and of course, we hate to see these travesties happen, but it's all the more reason why we have to stay in the fight for justice, and all the more reasons why we are thankful to have institutions like National Action Network who can answer the call and stand with families and deal with how policy is affected by demonstration. So thankful to Nan and to Reverend Sharpton again for all of the work that we are doing around this situation in particular. And we have other situations, things that don't even make the media, things that go unnoticed that we have to stay privy to and stay actively involved in. So we depend on you, our active participants, our freedom fighters, those who are on the ground every day to keep us abreast as to what is happening and how we can continue to help our brothers and sisters to progress forward and succeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you for our huddle report. Now we are going to have our Black History Fact of the Day by Sister Coco. Let's give Sister Coco a hand.
Thank you. On November 20th, 1866, 10 members of the First Congressional Society of Washington, D.C. gathered in the home of Deacon Henry Brewster for a missionary meeting. While there, they resolved to establish a seminary for the training of African-American clergymen. By early 1867, the founders had broadened their mission to encompass colleges of liberal arts and medicine for whatever measures are advanced for the welfare of the people and the direction of the masses. There the sons of Howard will be found in the midst of them. Professor Kelly Miller, in 6th Triennial Meeting of the College Alumni Association of Howard University, College Chapel, May 18th, 1892, Washington, D.C., Howard University Press, 1892, African American Perspectives, materials selected from the Rare Block Collection, Rare Book and Special Collections Division. Howard University, Washington, D.C., Carol M. Hines-Smith, photographer, 2010. Hines-Smith, Carol, Prints and Photographs Division. Howard University External was incorporated on March 2nd, 1867, and accepted its first students the following May. Its founders envisioned the institution as a resource for educating and training Black physicians, teachers, and ministers from the nearly 4 million enslaved persons recently emancipated. Brady's National Photographic Portrait Galleries, photographer between 1860 through 65, Civil War glass negatives and related prints. The university was named for Major General Oliver O. Howard, a founder of the university, as well as a Civil War hero and commissioner of the Freedmen's Bureau, 1865 to 72. Howard directed considerable resources towards establishing the university, including the original 3-acre campus, the main building, and the old medical school. Howard University was one of the several educational institutions funded by the Freedmen's Bureau for the purposes of providing education for the freemen. Congress had established the Bureau in 1865 to provide practical assurance to newly freed people. The Bureau facilitated the building of 45 hospitals and the education of approximately 150,000 former enslaved people before it was dismantled in 1872. Thank you so much.
Thank you for our Black History Fact today. Now, I did not purposely wear my Howard sweater today. I didn't know that Ashley was going to choose it as that, but at least I'm representing an HBCU. Yes, so thank God for Black education. Now we are going to have our membership and text alerts by none other than Gino. Clap it up for Gino.
Hi, everyone. Is everybody an updated member for the year 2023? Have you renewed your membership? If not, this applies to you as well as those who are not members. The best way to stay informed and in action is to become a member of NAN. Stay informed about NAN events close to where you live. Text Justice followed by your state to 59769. And remember to join us at the rally on every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Gino. So now we are going to have our good news for today. So does anybody have good news? Come up to the mic. You're getting 30 to 60 seconds. I'm watching. We're going to do that time stuff again. Y'all ain't getting over. Anybody else? Oh, Tony. Okay, come on. The mic is right there for you already. So I can keep this one.
That's all right, you deserve it, man. So my good news for today is one of the biggest things that ever happened to me. Miracle. So I have a Facebook page. It's called the Relationship Mastery Institute. I'm actually a C Corp, but I'm kind of by myself, very small. Anyway, in the last 11 days, I had 12 million people reach my page. Wow. 12 million. I mean, before this month, I don't know. I've been on Facebook since it started in 2008. I don't know if I had 12 million people from then till now. So I'm like, and the great thing about it is that Facebook, for content creators, which I'm one of them, they pay you like 1% of all your reach. So I know that I'm going to be getting like a few $1,000s next month just from doing that alone. And if anybody needs some support around how to do social media, how to do Facebook pages, I got your back. I'm complete.
Hello. Okay. I had made the basketball team today because we started practice like a week ago. So I made the team. My coach said so.
So this past Saturday, for those who were present at Mother AME Zion Baptist Church, Missionary Baptist Church, first of all, salute to the church and to Malcolm Byrd for allowing us to have Mother Kennedy's memorial service there, and salute to NAN for letting us have the repast here. But I just want to salute everyone that was present, because when I turned around in the funeral, it was literally 80% National Action Network members. And because she dedicated most of her life to fighting the good fight, and she was here for the 30 years that NAM was in existence, I thought that was a good showing that everyone decided to come and not think it was not robbery of their time, to come and pay respects to Mother Kennedy. So thank you all. Thank you those who are watching. Thank you those who joined us and gathered here. Thank you those who served and volunteered. But thank you on behalf of her family who were present, on behalf of those who follow her, on behalf of her church, on behalf of the Lavender Lights Choir. Thank you very much.
Thank you all that came up with your good news, and I'm going to close my good news by saying that Thursday was wonderful. And we came and we gave out turkeys, and we had a lot of folks on the line. We were giving out cards. Sabrina, raise your hand, Sabrina. Sabrina was here with us. That's your name, right? Okay, I'm making sure. Okay. Sabrina was here, and she was hollering outside and yelling. And it's okay. It's all right. She had the line in order. But Reverend Sharpton gave out turkeys along with D.A. Bragg. And so it was a wonderful, amazing thing to see how NAN is able to serve the community. Am I right? Yes, and the holiday seasons is a very difficult time for some people, so some people just need that hand to help lift them up, and that's what NAN did on Thursday and is going to do also this Thursday. So look at that, Thursday and Thursday. Now let's see what's next, because we still got Christmas left. Oh, Lord have mercy. All righty. Okay. So now that our good news is over, we have good time to now do our huddle Did You Knows. And so for our first Did You Know will be an informational article by our co-director, Ms. Ashley Sharpton.
Hello. So you basically heard Dominique did most of mine. Did you know? Oh, something happened to this. Oh, something happened to this. All right, somebody done broke the podium. Okay. So, Dexter Wade, everybody knows who Dexter Wade is, correct? You should. We've been talking about him for 3 weeks. All right, well, I'll give you a refresher. So Dexter Wade was the black man, 37 years old, father, in Mississippi. He was fatally struck by a Mississippi police vehicle and secretly buried in a pauper's grave. He was finally laid to rest by his family today, 9 months after his death. He was killed in March. Reverend Al Sharpton delivered a eulogy calling for justice and demanding accountability from the police department. Sharpton said that he was told the officer who fatally struck Wade with his vehicle was a black off-duty police officer. Irregardless, he suspects more cops were involved in allegedly concealing the events of the incident. Quote, "I wanted to give words of comfort to the family, but I wanted to give words of discomfort to the state of Mississippi," said Sharpton during the eulogy. "It is, in my opinion, one of the most disgraceful things I've ever heard. I've been in this a long time, but I've never heard one like this." Wade's homegoing service was held at the New Horizon Church International in Jackson, Mississippi. The funeral and previous exhumation of Wade's body was paid for by Campaign Zero, according to attorney Benjamin Crump. The civil rights giant declared that giving Wade a respectable funeral was just the first step towards justice and accountability. The off-duty officer that drove, you didn't go back on duty to and do your job of identifying something you did, or did you decide it was just a hit and run? Sharpton said in the pulpit. Wade's funeral comes 9 months after he was fatally struck by a Jackson police vehicle. They keep saying a police vehicle. It was a police officer in the vehicle. The vehicle didn't just hit it himself. Interesting. Authorities say shortly after he was buried in a pauper's grave unbeknownst to his family, who had been looking for him. The initial report from the pathologist hired by Crump's office found Wade's body was completely run over by the vehicle and that Wade had identification in his front pocket at the time of his death. Yet, his mother didn't discover he was dead and buried until August. I appreciate everybody's help because when this battle started, I started by myself. Betterston, which is Wade's mother, said at her son's funeral, "I begged Dexter to come home. Dexter, you made it home. I am sorry that I wasn't there, but baby, you told mama don't stop, because I'm out here." Crump said the full autopsy report for Wade is expected soon. So as Dominique said, sorry, not Damo. I went with Rev today to Mississippi with the contingency with Terrence McCullen and JT Challenger, and first of all, it was ridiculous. We shouldn't have been at a funeral for the young man. He did nothing wrong. He literally was going home, and he got hit by a car randomly. But if it was so random, and this is just my opinion, if it was so random, if anybody hit somebody with a car, you would have made sure there was something done to make sure they was okay. They would report the name. There was ID in his pocket, so obviously you knew what to do. You were a cop. You were an officer. So if it wasn't personal, were you doing something wrong that you had to cover it up? Were you drinking? Were you doing something that basically it doesn't make any sense in my opinion. As far as the investigation, and we talked about it 2 weeks ago, when Attorney Crump, who was the lawyer for the family, and the family finally got the information in August, when they decided that they wanted to dig up the body to do their own, basically to see how it happened, 2 hours before they were scheduled to go, the body was dug up already. So obviously something is going on. And also, so Mrs. Wade, her brother, and this is a lot, so follow me, her brother was killed in Mississippi as well. So it is being said that it was related by cops, and it's saying that this is related to retaliation basically with her brother because she made so much fuss. She would not let them die, she would not let that story die down, that basically the cops have an issue with the family. And they're saying that this is basically payback and a cover-up for that, allegedly. Irregardless, there has been no justice or accountability. It took a while for the mayor to even say, and he's black, to even come out and say anything that this was wrong. And I'm not sure why it's wrong to say something is wrong. If someone buried somebody on the side of the road, literally with no gravestone, literally with like a paper sign, and the mother was going for 5 months, asking and calling and bothering the police station, and everybody gave her the runaround, nobody gave her a response or said anything, nothing, somebody has to be held accountable. And if they can't do it in Mississippi themselves, we are calling for the DOJ to get involved. As we just saw with Breonna Taylor, that's not always promising as well. But at the end of the day, we're not going to let this be swept under the rug. We ask y'all to continue to pray for the Wade family, continue to stand with us and standing with them. And please, for those who don't know who Dexter Wade is, if you didn't listen to anything I said, Google it. Find out exactly who he is and share it so that more people are aware of what's going on. I want to salute the NBC reporter. He was a white man in Mississippi who basically put his life on the line to release the story. They were covering this up for months, and he put his life on the line to release the story, and we're still praying for him. And I also want to say, they mentioned in here that Campaign Zero paid for the funeral. D. Ray McKesson, I don't know, for those of y'all who have been moving for a long time, but D. Ray was one of the rising young leaders from Black Lives Matter. And I remember when we first started at the 2014 March on Washington, the way we met D. Ray was interesting. Because D. Ray was fighting us to get on the stage, was trying to say that we blocked young people's voices out. I was younger than D. Ray at the time, so we went back to back and face to face. But it was interesting to see, literally 8 years later, that he was now sitting with us on the same side, fighting for the same people in the same way. So if you continue this fight, and if you're really about this movement and the people, you'll end up on the same side, doing what's right for justice. So stay strong in this. I just wanted to say I appreciate you, Brother D. Ray, and Campaign Zero, Attorney Ben Crump Law, and the Nash Action Network Mississippi chapter, and the NAACP Mississippi chapter that's out there. Let's continue to have boots on the ground, and let's keep this family in your prayers.
Thank you, Ashley, and everything that she said is so true. That people, if it was an accident, why not say anything about it? All right, so I'm going to give the next Did You Know, and then Mo is going to come with his two, and then we were having a little discussion in the back about the last one, but I'll keep that for a surprise. But my Did You Know is about Congress, and it is about Congress averting a governor's shutdown, but the real fiscal fight is ahead. A lot of people, the news is, moving on, one news cycle to the next. But this fiscal crisis that we're about to be in is very, very real. And us as American people, we have to wake up and notice that we are heading for some trouble. And it is not the fault of the President of the United States. Can I say that one more time? Where we are about to go and where we are heading is not the fault of Joe Biden, but it is the fault of our current Congress, okay? All right, so let me read this article. And the subtitle is "The Expected Clash Early Next Year is Complicated, but Entirely House Dynamics and Major Differences Between Both Chambers." During his weekly news conference with reporters, House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican, made clear that his decision to fund the government with a stopgap plan was not an abandonment of his far-right bona fides, but simple recognition that a partisan proposal would never become law. So, what is a stopgap law? A stopgap plan? Let me tell you that. It is where they basically go off of the funding of the previous fiscal year. So they are not allocating new funding. They're not saying, let's manipulate the budget to give more funding to education, more funding, to health and human services, but we're going to use the exact same structure of funding from last year for this year. Yet the problems of last year are not the problems of this year. Keep that in mind. He goes on to say, Johnson's pursuit of compromise only further inflamed the far right who believed that House Republicans missed their chance to use Friday's funding deadline as leverage to extract concessions from the Senate. Their ultimatums have left them dug in during an era where politicians prize partisan wins over bipartisanship, especially among the friction of the GOP conference, who already ousted a speaker for relying on Democrats to pass legislation. Now, in all the years of Congress, has never there been a Speaker of the House to be removed from their seat? Not one. Who was the first? What's his name? Y'all don't know it? Kevin McCarthy. Thank you. Republicans already have fighting in their conference. Now they're taking their anger and lashing it out on the American people with this fiscal budget. Let me keep reading. While two Republican speakers have now successfully proposed bipartisan plans that avoided a government shutdown this year, it has come at the expense of delaying the inevitable fight to fund the government for the full 2024 fiscal year. So what they're doing is that every time they hit the deadline, they're going to keep on debating. They're going to keep on debating. This is not keeping the country running smoothly, and it's not keeping the flow of money smoothly, because every time the deadline comes, what they're running to do, they're running to get to the floor. Running. Setting those 2024 spending levels will require census between the GOP-led House and the Democratic Senate before the next fiscal deadlines, tying up what many expect to be an even more contentious battle that will center on Johnson's ability to lead his deeply divided conference. The House and the Senate remain billions of dollars apart on their respective appropriation bills that would fund all government departments until September 30th of the following year, 2025, with both chambers failing to mark up their proposals to the $1.5 trillion in spending into law by House Republicans and President Biden in exchange for raising the debt ceiling earlier this year. But while appropriators and governing-minded lawmakers in both parties believe they can strike a compromise and avoid an automatic 1% cut across all federal departments earlier this year, far-right hardliners have suggested rejecting any compromise that does not fulfill their spending requests and have filtered with the idea of supporting a government shutdown if the Senate does not accept their demands. So I'm going to close here because this article is long, but I read you the part that is most important because this is what I really want us to have a discussion on. What is happening right now with the government is a very scary thing. Let me first start here when I talk about funding in New York City. Every department in the city of New York is receiving 5% of budget cuts. That's the first thing that we're enduring here in the city. Every agency, Department of Education, Health and Human Services, these are things that people need. Now we have the government doing what they call stopgaps. That means every time the government is getting ready to shut down, they go back to the floor to vote and say, okay, if we got to come up with this, we got to come up with that. And now they're going to base their current funding on last year's funding. The problems that we had in 2023 are not the problems that we're having right now. Oh, I'm sorry, 2022. I'm thinking we're already in 2024. The problems that were in 2022 are not the problems of 2023. So everybody, I'm opening up to a question, but if nobody has anything to say about how they feel, all I'm asking is, how do you feel that you are now at the mercy, let me use that word, you are now at the mercy of a government that really does not care about the people anymore. A report is saying that this is the least representative Congress that we've had in years. What does that mean? You have a representative that is not representing your interest in America. That's basically what they're saying. So how does everybody feel? If y'all don't have nothing to say, we can move on and get out of here a little earlier. We all want to go home. It's been a long day. But anybody have anything to say about the government and the money issue? Oh, Miss Anaya A. I was waiting for her to pop up.
Praise the Lord. I just got here, but since we're talking about money and stuff, praise God, amen. All right, and I'm back. Well, you already know the government never really had our interests at heart, so this is nothing really new, right? But what's really alarming is that, and I hate to say it like this, but thank God Rev's pastor was here talking about it. Kathy Hochul is really embarrassing us, and she is really doing some stuff right now, and she's not even caring about affordable housing, as we could see. And these types of the things are that we have to talk about, because out of 3,000 affordable housing units, I think 45 were built. So where is the money going that is supposed to be going towards affordable housing? A lot of people don't think about these things, but I'm glad we have these forums to talk about where is the funding? Where is it going? Ukraine, Russia, where, right? But then second part to that, today I went to a rally for reparations. We all need to join forces with those that actually are standing against, this reparations thing. And I just want to share this last part. Guess what, y'all? They're not even talking about giving us the reparations. You know what they're talking about? Doing a survey. Doing a survey on what happened to slaves and the outcome presently. Do we already know what's going on with slavery and stuff? We already know. So at the end of the day, the NAACP had a great meeting. A lot of people from the National Action Network actually were represented, so I wore my pin to let them know I'm from NAN, praise God. And we just need to join that fight, because all that money that they're giving to other nations should be coming right here to us. So all that funding that they give away to people we don't even know should be right here. So I don't know if I answered the question, but child, I'm trying.
That's all right, thank you. But that's a good question. Where is the money going? Where is the money going? So I'm going to close with this, and then Mo is coming with his article. Oh, somebody want to say something. Never mind, can't close. Go ahead.
I want to say that a lot of the money is going to liars that think they could do stuff. For example, protecting wildlife. I'm going to give you an example. Wildlife, every single product we have has a big corporation, and then it has subsidiary. Con Edison is the parent company of CBS. Not a lot of people know that. And then there's other companies. Now, what's happening is that people, for the wildlife, when you buy pet food, a certain percentage goes to the wildlife. If you notice, there's many, many, many non-for-profits now to protect animals. There was the ASPCA, the National Wildlife, then you have the SPCA, and you have the Friends of the Earth, and you have all these other wildlife conservatives, so many different others, that the money is being spread out, and it's not going to the cause it's supposed to be. So when you have population explosion, it's happening. But the reality of what is happening is in the Bronx, we had the Huntington Reading Library, and I was there Thursday for a talk about the borders between Mount Vernon and the Bronx. Yes. Make a long story short, I says, what is going on here? Because the Bronx, a lot of people don't know, is the first Pentagon. Fort Schuyler, the Merchant Marines, the Marines and the Navy. I'm a Marine, my records were there. They did 9/11 to get rid of the World Trade, because the World Trade is the Merchant Marines, which means we get African lobster tails, we get cocoa from there. Well, the whole world is a World Trade, and this country is the first nation under God. So I want to be, with a grain of salt, I want to tell everybody that this country is under an attack. I live in Throgs Neck, and I ran for president when I came to NAN years ago, when NAN first started. My house was stolen by an imposter.
Okay.
President Nixon appointed Shirley Temple Black to the UN, and he was framed, and then Belvedere sued Coca-Cola, putting on cold water and plastic. So, but my point is, please don't believe lies. Because I'm going to tell you, last night I saw a special about slavery where a ship, they put it there, they made people pay.
Thank you.
They used to come here paying, and maybe they got tricked. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
We're one nation under God, and the devil divides with lies.
Yes.
Did you understand what I'm saying?
I got it. Thank you. Can we please give her a hand? All right, so I'm going to close with this. And let me say this. She made a good point, and Ms. Adaya made a good point. Where is the money going, and why is it not being allocated to where it's supposed to be allocated? So in my closing is this. We are headed for America is headed for its demise, and we just don't know it yet. And the Bible says it all. And stuff is happening that some people said would never happen, but it's really happening. America is falling apart, and this is the one time today's President Biden's birthday. We can't blame the 81-year-old for what is currently going on. Everybody want to say, oh, he's so old, the country's going to go down because of him. Nope. Not this time. Maybe something else. Because I saw some things going on today with our people that are coming across the border, our immigrant communities. But that's another thing. Money is going there. And it's not being appropriated to the people that need it. I was in Brooklyn today. We went past the... what is that thing called? I was about to say Eat Better Today. That's what the young people call it. EBT, I'm sorry, Lord have mercy. But the EBT place, half of the line were people that had cards around them that said that they're from a foreign country. And then there's people, the line went all the way around the corner. So now, yes, we understand that they need help, but the funding needs to be allocated to where it needs to go, and it needs to help the people. So housing, wildlife, what else? Fighting gun violence, every issue that is going on in America, we need the money to go there and stop procrastinating. We give the military almost $1 trillion every year. That's a serious thing. America, oh yes, it's the greatest country, it's impenetrable, whatever. Almost $1 trillion goes to the military. But they don't take care of veterans. Thank you. They don't take care of veterans because that's an entirely different budget. Did y'all know that? Veterans Affairs and the military is an entirely different budget. And yet Veterans Affairs is one of the lowest paid out of everything, yet they say that they're for veterans. So I'm done because I can keep going. Mo is coming, but the question I want you to do, and contact your representatives. Didn't we hear that in our article last week? Contact your representatives and say, what are you voting on and where is the money going? All right, that's a good question. Come on, Mo, with your did you knows for today. Let's give Mo Bar, Mr. Gilchrist? Yes, vote. Thank you, Mr. Gilchrist. Young black folks. Yes, we're going to help the young black people vote. That's what y'all need to learn. We're going to teach y'all, but it's all right. Come on, Mo.
Good evening, everyone. So I have two articles to read. My first one is just more of an informative one for everyone. As you know, last week we spoke about artificial intelligence and how it coincides with what goes on with black people. So this article is Senator Chuck Schumer. He has very real concerns about artificial intelligence and its impact on black people. So they must have heard us here at Huddle last week. They listening. They out there listening. Artificial intelligence has been a hot, if not heated topic that has been discussed for much of 2023. Due to things like facial recognition, deep fakes, and automation of jobs, among other issues, it has become an interim of concern in the African American community. Those concerns prompted Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to sit down on November 15th with a group of civil rights activists, business leaders, and journalists with an update on his plans for artificial intelligence regulation. If Congress and government don't step up, there will be no guardrails. Blacks are among the most affected by AI, said Schumer, a New York Democrat. The racism perpetuated for centuries could be built in. That's why we need guardrails. The meeting came following a series of bipartisan congressional forums examining AI's potential impacts. The forums were held after President Joe Biden issued the first ever executive order on artificial intelligence. They examined effects on elections, civil rights, healthcare, law enforcement, business, and jobs, especially for people of color. Schumer said that Congress must move now to create artificial intelligence legislators' protections. If we do nothing, it's built in, the bias against people of color, he said. The same inequities, same injustices, and this is everywhere. Voting, finance, the areas with red lines will use the same redlining data with AI. We have to force them to stop. So the fact that Chuck Schumer stepped up to step forward, hopefully we get some bills passed, some mandates, and everything set in place to help us in this forever fighting battle that our black people are facing with a new, somewhat of a common enemy, artificial intelligence. So hopefully that'll work in our favor down the line for not just us now, but for our kids in the future and their kids' future and their kids' future. So we'll see how this artificial intelligence saga plays out. Now, my next Did You Know is about a name that we all know, Derek Chauvin. If you don't know, he tried to appeal, and we were ready to read a Did You Know about his appeal, but then got an update that appeal was denied. So that's as quick as it came, is as quick as it went. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of how that went and what's going on. Supreme Court rejects Derek Chauvin's appeal in George Floyd's killing. The U.S. Supreme Court on Monday, today, rejected an appeal from former Minnesota police officer Derek Chauvin, who was convicted of murder in the 2020 killing of George Floyd. Chauvin was found guilty in April 2021 of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in Floyd's death. He was sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison, which exceeded Minnesota's sentencing guidelines range of 10 years and 8 months to 18 years. Chauvin later pleaded guilty to federal charges. Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me shift over a little bit. I got a bleed in my MacBook. Chauvin later pleaded guilty to federal charges of violating Floyd's civil rights, and was sentenced to 21 years in prison to run concurrently with his state sentence. Floyd's killing while in police custody on a Minneapolis street was caught on video and ignited prolonged protests in the community and across the country over police brutality and racial injustice. Chauvin claimed in his appeal against conviction he had not received a fair trial because jurors in his case may have had a vested interest against acquitting out of fear of instigating more street protests and violence. Chauvin's lawyers have said there were various reasons to overturn his conviction, including a state district court providing the former officer of his right to a fair trial by denying his request for a change of venue, despite pervasive adverse publicity. The Supreme Court rejected Chauvin's appeal without comment on a recorded vote. CNN has reached out to an attorney for Chauvin. CNN has reached out to an attorney for Chauvin, Floyd family attorney Ben Crump, and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison for comment. So, I mean, it's good news in itself, but, National Action Network is, as far as people who have been defending and speaking on this whole case from the day that we lost George Floyd, I mean, we all knew that a request for an appeal was coming. We knew that he would try to appeal for whatever reason. We knew his team would try to make a chance to appeal. How do you guys feel where we are today with the George Floyd case? And him being, and the officer being convicted, with the time, with everything happened, I just want to know how some of you feel today. Now, of course, we all felt a certain way when we found out George Floyd was killed by this officer, the whole protest and everything up to the day that the man was convicted. But right now, as we speak today, with him trying to get an appeal, and he's going to keep trying. We know he's going to keep trying. They're going to try everything, and I wouldn't be surprised if something happens down the line, if some people get in office, or if something happens where this man just ducks and curves this full 22 and a half years, because something in me tells me he won't do the whole thing. Right now is a victory. He got hit with that time because, in situations like this is kind of unheard of. Other like Rodney King and Eric Garner, we can name so many people who have been involved in police officer brutality, which resulted in death or near death. They've either been acquitted or given a slap on the wrist or being suspended, but many haven't been given 22 and a half years in jail. So just as we are today, where we are on this day with this case and how it touched you, and just talk to me about how you felt when it happened. What part did you play? How did you support it? How did it make you feel? And where we are today, how do you feel about this case as a whole, George Floyd and Chauvin and just everything, and how National Action Network and you being a member of NAN, how were you impacted, and what role did you play, or do you feel you could have done more, or how does this make you feel down the line, God forbid this happens again?
Yes. All right, so that was a lot of questions in one, but I'll try to remember all of them. But from what I think that this was great that we saw the Supreme Court. Now, that doesn't happen very often because you know how the Supreme Court has been voting the last couple of weeks. They have been tearing down everything meaningful to the American people. And this is something meaningful to everyone, but specifically for black and brown people. And what really needs to be addressed is that this man will continue to go and appeal and appeal and appeal. And I pray that he does not get that conservative judge that he's looking for.
Right.
Because one thing about the American system is that you can keep going to court as many times as you want and there's no limits. And he has already been given justice. Could he have gotten a tougher sentence? People have done less and have gotten way more. We're still dealing with people that are in jail for smoking marijuana. And it's predominantly black people. This man had his knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. At 9 minutes. 9 minutes and 46 seconds. And yet all he got is 24 years. And then now he wants to appeal and say that was too harsh. Murder, no matter if you're a police officer or a regular civilian, you should still go to jail. And justice still needs to be served. Because if that had to be somebody else, if that was a black man that did that to a white man, he would probably be in the electric chair receiving the death penalty. So this that he got, he should be glad, he should sit still, and he should be quiet. And as black people, what we should do, and going back to what Mo said, did we do enough? Yes and no. Because after George Floyd and stuff was over, and 2020 passed, people stopped calling George Floyd's name. Now, we don't do that here. We have Terrence Floyd that comes on Saturdays and even sometimes the Huddle, and I was with Terrence in Brooklyn on Friday. So some people just forgot. Major organizations, I'm not going to say who it is, but I forgot they even existed. They're quiet. And that's what I'm talking about. It's as Reverend Sharpton says, episonic, I hope I'm saying that word correctly. Maybe I'm making up a word. But episonic activists. These are people that only come when it's for them, and they only come when it's really something that bothers them. So unless this bothers you, nobody's going to say anything. But it bothers me, and what we need to do is continue to fight and make sure that he does not get the person he's looking for that will lower his sentence or even grant him immunity.
Thank you. Exactly what I'm looking for. Yes, sir.
George Floyd murder, I sympathize with him because my uncle was murdered by police officers. Doing what we do for George Floyd, I remember the death of him. It was heartbroken. Can't change nothing. He gonna keep on trying to get the appeal. Thing we could do is fight. That's all.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So, what I thought was really interesting was how when he was on the stand, he was in a light gray suit, and everything about him looked like he wasn't a killer, and I just thought it was a lot of marketing that went to making him look like a good guy. And for the sentencing, it was really a great victory because we was like, wow, like he's gonna go to jail, but right away we was like, he's not gonna do more than 2 years. So right away is really great because we thought he wasn't gonna be there for no time really at all. Of course he's gonna try to keep appealing. He didn't even try to act like he did anything when he was on the stand. Like he was really trying to look like this really good guy. They had him looking like an angel, like he was so innocent. And I thought that was really frustrating. Like the whole thing was very frustrating. It's still frustrating, but I think that we have to continue to push for other cops to get similar sentences because as we see, they're still getting away with these kind of things, and they're not using this as something to continue to do. Like, he's not a really example. We thought that was gonna, okay, he's using this, they're using him as an example, but we still have cops doing things all across the nation, and they're not even sentencing them like murderers. So we have to try to really focus on the win that we got with George Floyd, and trying to make sure that that happens with other similar cases throughout other states, because we do see that clearly police are murdering even our little children. We can't forget Kamari Hughes. I mean, he was murdered by a person driving a NYPD tow truck, and they didn't even give the murder, like that, they wasn't sentenced as a person that murdered somebody. So we have to always focus on that. And just one thing about the AI, when like shortly after we had that huddle, I had got a article on my social media about how people were taking people's pictures and putting them in AI sexual explicit movies, and I was like, this is so crazy, and it's called deep fakes.
Yeah.
So it's really an issue, and we really got to pay attention to it, because it's a big issue, and they're really trying to use all of our images for negative things. So I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you.
So much.
Okay. George Floyd's murderer, Siobhan, what's his name again?
Chauvin.
Derek Chauvin. He has no capacity to face reality. He doesn't have the capacity to see what's really going on, to deal with the impact, to see what he did and how it affects him and how it affects other people. He's still being a spoiled brat in jail. I'm actually a little bit surprised he's still alive, because I know there's some black folks up in there, and I know they ain't liking him, okay? But seriously, he has no remorse whatsoever. Because if he had remorse, he would sit there and handle it and do the best he can to use this as a tool to take advantage of it. He's going to be in there for 22 years for doing something horrible. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years for doing nothing, standing for what he was standing for. And this guy is standing for nothing except for how to get out of trouble. He's a wimpy little boy, as they used to say in the Bronx, girly man. That's what he is. So I got no respect for him, but because he doesn't have any respect for himself or anybody else, really. That's why he's going to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, rather than sit there, own it, so he could get the benefits of whatever he did to work. I'm complete.
Thank you.
By the way, I said girly man. I don't like that, but that's what they used to say. I'm sorry.
What I'm hearing is the same thing that has happened since we can remember. The unfairness, how we're being treated, judged, prosecuted. Like, nothing has happened too much here in America for blacks. I'm born in Mississippi. My parents were the turn of the century, and nothing has changed with education, with in our medical, with jobs, with everything. There's just no equality. I think what we need to do as a people is to find ways that we can come up with laws, good laws, because they'll just keep doing things to keep things in perspective the way they want it to be, and we're not growing as a people. Martin Luther King didn't do all this here for us to be where we are today. He did things for growth. But where have we grown to? Thank God for people like the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, that at least some of us are trying. But other races don't care about us. We help people from everywhere. We give them housing. We give them monies for to clothe themselves, for medical, for jobs. What about our children? Our children, this is what our children get. drugs, and things of that nature to be sold on the streets, then sent to jail to do a crime to, in my eyes, they're really not guilty of, because had it not been for with somebody with monies to invest, to bring those drugs, to allow the young people to sell them, use them, ruin their life, this wouldn't happen. So the people who's accountable, really, nothing happens to. We're the fall guy.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next.
Hello. Hello. My
How you doing?
feelings on the George Floyd is that I'm happy that the cop got convicted. I'm happy about, Black Lives Matter. What I'm hurt about, it's like it's still going on. Still black bodies are dying in the street, not only black, white as well by the police, but the police, when they do kill one of us, it's all, we need training, we need training. And what I feel is the training is the teaching to seeing black people as humans and not animals, or not, for police. And then the thing is, even our own people, when we put on the uniform, it's like they're not black, they're blue. Because I can really tell you my worst experience have been with black people of color officers. They go harder because they have something to prove. They go harder because they have, hey, I can get on my people. Just like the 5 officers that was charged, they got charged real quick because they're black, of course. But when they put on that uniform, they're not black, they're blue. So I just, like everyone has said, we need to start working on getting people registered to vote, but we can make changes
Yes.
in laws. Police, qualified immunity?
Yes.
These are things that we need to change first, and by doing that is getting the young people registered now. Not when it's voting time. It is voting time, but we should start working on it now. I'm willing to work to help to make changes, but I'm not happy about this situation because we're still dying. It is improvement. You do see officers being arrested, charged, but I'm not happy. We're still dying in the streets.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Last comment.
Yeah, hi, good day, everybody, and God bless everybody. I'm so glad that we're here together. National Action Network co-sponsored a march on Washington, D.C. That was on August 26, 2023. Obviously, George Floyd is not forgotten. There's a lot of news going on that, for the reasons that we don't need to know, supersedes talking about George Floyd. But George Floyd is still being talked about, because the march in particular included the need for George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. There are Democratic politicians who are constantly working to get that passed, but the House is divided. So when the sister mentioned voting, that's one reason why I came up here. Vote for some Democrats for both, so they can win, get both houses, and trust and believe George Floyd Justice and Policing Act will be passed then. That's a reality. So it's on us. If we want some more police reform, we have to vote, and I, in particular, suggest you vote for Democrats who really want justice and really want peace. But they need our vote. So no one is really justified in saying they're not going to vote for anybody because they can't decide which one. We have to make a choice. And the best choice is Democrat. It's the best choice. So deal with that reality and put your vote on paper, and then the laws that we would like to get passed will have a better chance on being passed. Thank you.
She was the last comment, but okay. Go, Chris.
All right. Well, I just want to make everybody aware that George Floyd and Kevin Chauvin were friendly. They knew each other.
Right,
It
right.
was a revenge killing. Derek was jealous of George.
This is
So
fact.
they worked in a club together for 15 years. There was security. People don't know this. That's why anybody could be that mean to another person. This was, I got you now. This was a revenge killing and never came out in court. But people have to understand, that was an enraged, mean man. You saw pure hate there. And just watch the video. You can see how he's getting back at somebody. I mean, you couldn't kill a stranger like that. You know, this man, they knew each other. And he was jealous of George. All right?
It's a fact to remember. They definitely knew each other first. So, final thought. I just asked for the reason that I asked. We've dealt with many of these cases as an organization. We've dealt with many of these cases. So we're a couple of steps above the average person out there that hears something like this on the news. They don't know how to get involved. They want to know how to get involved because there's people who are not a part of a civil rights organization that may want to be, or they support from a distance. And when they hear things about George Floyd or Eric Garner or Tamir Rice or Trayvon Martin, they get enraged in their seat and they want to get involved. And there's just so many people that just don't know how to get involved. And it's just as easy as calling a place like Nan or walking through these doors and just sitting here on a Saturday or coming here on a Monday and just getting information that'll put you way ahead of the curve of so many people who are, they may see it on TV, but they really don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on with the incident or the people involved trying to help. So, you know, when it comes to these issues, it's just that we always need to look for new ways to help the issue. Like, we don't just sit here waiting on the next issue. We know that there's a chance that it'll happen. Any moment we'll get a call that another police officer put their knee on somebody's neck or choked somebody or shot somebody because they thought they had something when all they had was Skittles in Arizona. Like, any of those cases are bound to happen at any moment. We hope they don't, but as civil rights organizations, we brace ourselves for that. And when that happens, we always have to sit down, and each situation is unique. So when we mobilize, whether it be with other organizations or other movements, like he said, he named movements that are no longer still speaking the name of some of the people that we've helped. They moved on. Like, they just came through for the notoriety, for the light, and they got some money out of it, and they gone, while people like the family and the people that are close to the family like Nan are still suffering, crying, hurting with them, and family members are still coming here. Year plus after it happened, we have family members and friends that are close to the deceased that still come here because they respected and believed in what we did, and they was here with us and they fought with us. And you know, when it comes to the voting thing, like, I think back when Diddy had Vote or Die. When Diddy did Vote or Die, you know, I don't know what numbers it did, but I'm sure that helped with youth and voting, especially in the black community. I can't give you the exact numbers, but what he did was genius. Marching with the Mohawk at the marathon, Vote or Die, like, that campaigning did something. And it was a great idea. And I feel like he should be commended for that, because I know in this room, we talk about voting a lot. We push voting all day long, especially for our young people to vote. And like the sister said, we shouldn't wait till there's a race coming to get people voting. We should do that months long before. And I'll admit, I was one of those people that I was kind of finicky about voting because, you know, I used to listen to a lot of people saying that no matter what we vote for, it's already a fixed government and this, that, and the third. So what's the point of voting? Like, people talk about Democrat and Republican, and it's like, what's the point if it's already fixed and it's already set up for this person to win, or they're going to spite this person anyway. They may assassinate this person or air this person's dirty laundry. So what's the point? And I really realized that there are real people that come from our community. There may be somebody here right now that wants to be president or run for district office. They live the same neighborhoods we live. They went through the same violence, the same pain, and they really want to be in office and make change. So if I can be next to a person like that and grow up with a person like that, then there has to be some truth, and that there's people in government that really want to see change. There has to be truth in it. There's our next president, our next congressman could be sitting in this room right now, and they really want to make change. And I can't just I, as a person, can't just lean towards conspiracy theorists and listen to them and think, hey, well, because this, that, and the third happened in 1960 and COINTELPRO and Jim Crow era and all Willie Lynch and this, that, and the third, I can't live my life thinking that will always be. There will always be change. I know this sounds a little harsh, but the racism and the way it was, a lot of those people are starting to die. Like those older guys, I know they pass it down, but those people that was in that control, sooner or later, we're gonna see kids like Gino's age in the Congress room, iPods, listening to music is just different. They're embracing the music, they're embracing each other. The racism isn't as strong as it once was. It's still here, but it's not like it was. It doesn't have the same chokehold. We have a hand in the chokehold now. We can break it, it's different. Whites, blacks, Anglo-Saxon, everybody. So with that, it shows hope. You know, the hope is what keeps it going. So that's the end of my Did You Know? I just wanted to send a little light out on this Monday. Good evening.
Thank you, Mo Bars. Now we are going to come up with our last Did You Know? But before they begin, I just want to give a disclaimer that everything that is said right now, if they call for a question, is not the thoughts or opinions of the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton and the National Action Network. Everything that is said right now is based purely on the personal beliefs of that individual. We are not coming to bash anybody. We had a long conversation in the back. And so I can't wait to see how this is going to play out because I abstained from voting, but of course majority wins. I said I'm staying out of it. So now for this, Did You Know, we can't just have one person do it because it's too strong. But we are going to have our wonderful National Director of Membership, Ms. Dominique Sharpton, and Mr. Mo come back up and do our fourth and final Did You Know of the evening.
Thank you. So we want to talk about a specific policy that we just want to make sure that everyone is privy to. And as we're talking, Brother Christian talked about opinions and lack thereof. We know that when certain instances hit the media, we know that we as a people are very quick to publicly scrutinize or publicly respond to things that we hear going on in the media, but not necessarily understanding how things are justified and how the role of policy plays in these actual situations and occurrences that happen and how the process actually works. In this particular situation, we want to talk about a particular piece of legislation called the Adult Survivors Act. Now this, so on May 24th, 2022, Governor Kathy Hochul signed the Adult Survivors Act, also known as ASA. This legislation creates a one-year look-back period dating 6 months from the signing. It allows sexual assault survivors over 18 years of age at the time of the attack to sue their alleged abusers no matter when it occurred. No matter when it occurred. The asset temporarily bypasses the statute of limitations in New York for filing a civil sexual abuse lawsuit. Thus, survivors have until November 23rd, 2023 to file a lawsuit against the alleged perpetrator as well as against employers or public or private institutions that knew or should have known about the sexual assault. These may include colleges and universities, healthcare providers, hospitals, prisons or jails, and religious institutions. Now, I can continue to go on to talk about other prospects or other examples of how people have not known about the Adult Survivors Act and utilized their civil suits to raise their profile, to raise suspicions on their situation. But this is an important piece of legislation that I don't think that we are really privy to or understand the complexities of how these pieces of legislation work and how these policies are put in place. Mo?
With that being said, did you hear what she read? Yes. Did you understand what she read? Yes. Okay, with that being said, with what Dominique just read, here's a specific topic, and you can think of many others of it, but this is the latest. Cassie versus P. Diddy. Right. Now, before you guys, let's be clear, this is not a free for all for you to come up here and can't go ham. Stick to what she read.
Lorianne already coming down the aisle.
Yeah, right. You're coming from everywhere. Stick to what was read off that. Apply that. Pretend you're back in school. Apply that. This is AP Huddle. Apply that to this. So here are the facts. This is what you need to know. Diddy met Cassie in 2006. He signed her to his Bad Boy record label. We don't know at what point they began to have a romantic involvement. From that point on, they were together up until about 2016 when Cassie finally decided, I can't do this no more. She left with their trainer, celebrity trainer, had 2 daughters. The next few years, we didn't hear from Cassie, seen a beautiful picture here and there. She pops up recently, a week or 2 ago, with a civil suit against Sean P. Diddy Combs, Puff Daddy, Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy Enterprises, Revolt, and Epic Records. Everything that's under Diddy was sued in this suit. A week of supporting Cassie and shaming Diddy, not knowing the facts. None of us ever been inside Diddy's or Cassie's house. Most of you never met any of them in person, don't know their personality in person, but so many people were just crucifying Diddy off what they heard, rumors over the years, and just bashing Diddy, supporting Cassie. Some people were saying that Cassie came out of nowhere, they thought she was so happy, now all of a sudden she needs $30 million for her pain and suffering. After all the weeks of back and forth, it was put in the news that they settled out of court for whatever amount. We don't know the amount, we may not ever know. So now, the floor is open to you applying how you feel about this situation to that and where it goes. You can slowly come and line up. This is not a free-for-all. Please. Please. Okay.
I'm going to start it because I was in the back when all of this unfolded. So I want to say this. I didn't pay attention to it because I'm with Ashley. Now, I wasn't going to say that at the back, but I can say it when there's witnesses, and let me move over a little bit. But I was with Ashley. You know, I didn't really want to talk about it because I didn't really care. It wasn't really nothing. I thought the government shutdown was more important. That's why I chose that article. But let's talk about Diddy. You know, the law helps a lot of women and a lot of people, period. It doesn't just have to be women, but it's also men, because men also go through things such as that. But when you have this with celebrities, it becomes a little iffy, because you never know who's really telling the truth, and then you never really know the whole backstory, because we don't always know everything. But what I do think that we should really try to be aware of is really where did this all stem from? Sometimes, I don't know what happened to them. They stopped talking. They stopped being around each other. She went off of social media. She went ghost. Off the radar, was not nowhere to be found. Now, all of a sudden, is suing Diddy. Now, whatever happened, Mo was telling us that, you know, people said that he attacked her, but she fell off of a four-wheeler when she was doing whatever in the desert, and then they all of a sudden blamed Diddy and said that he attacked her. So, as Dominique was telling us, this also allows for a lot of black artists particularly, especially black men of color, to be canceled, completely canceled and completely bashed by the media. I want to make a point. Donald Trump said certain things about his own daughter.
Yes.
Everybody walked over it. Yeah, I'm not going to say what he said, because we all know what he said. You can go back on record and say what he said. He said some nasty, horrible things that I don't even know who would want to say something like that to their family member, let alone the person that they helped procreate. Yet Donald Trump didn't get canceled. A lot of white people say a lot of crazy random things and do a lot of crazy random things. Yet are they canceled? No. But now here we have Diddy, who, you know, is doing good in his life. I didn't know about the vote. Oh, actually, yes, I did. I was about to lie. I knew about the vote or die thing. Diddy's been doing good with his music. I know that Reverend Sharpton knows him, and you know all these things. So now, to me, I don't know the full story. I don't really care about it. But until it gets real serious, then that's when I have to start caring about it. But I really think that we should really take the time to understand how this can be detrimental to him and how this is affecting his family and those that are around him, because the media, one thing they can do is really help to bring a person down when they're at a really, really high point in their life. So now, Patrice.
Very good analysis.
I was listening to Christian. I kind of forgot what the question was. Can you? Because he was everywhere, and I think he took everything I was going to say. But can you just remind me?
No,
of the
so
question
we were
again?
saying in light of knowing now facts about the Adult Survivors Act and how you can, legally go and file a civil suit on, domestic or sexual abuse, rape, etc. How does that play into now your opinion on the Diddy and Cassie factor?
So first, I think, you read all of the blogs, of course, everyone, he was like the topic for like hours, right? And you think about it and they say, like Mo said, she fell off a car, but then they said that he beat her up and sent her to Hawaii for 3 weeks until like all of her swelling and all of that stuff went down. But it makes you think like, why now, Cassie, right? Like you said, the law that's in place, she has a year to do it. I think, my own opinion is that this lawsuit was stemming a long time. And he probably never responded to her or probably just swept her under the rug and said, girl, bye. And then she said, no, I have a year to do this. So it's either you're going to pay me or I'm going to come out. But you do notice that when she started telling her story and about to tell her story, many other artists joined on with her to say, oh, no, she's telling the truth. That's how he does, yada, yada, right? But at the end of the day, it's a black man who's very wealthy, right, and has a lot of connections. And as they say that he was trying to buy Viacom, so they were trying to Bill Cosby him, as they say, allegedly, that's what they said, that they didn't want this black man to have so much power. So we don't really know if it's true or not. I'm a little leery that he settled that less than 24 hours. So that makes me not saying that he's guilty, but why is it that you were so quick? Because when the artists, I believe the artists that he had, and he had like all of their rights to their music, when they were suing him, he didn't settle that in 24 hours. He just gave them their rights, I believe it was this year. So why is it that you quickly ran and settled with Cassie? Make you want to say, Diddy, what's really going on? That's all I got. Well, I'm going to sound like Tony Bear. That's all I got.
All right. King, you want to join this? King! Clearly King! All right, King is here for the first time, so he has a lot to say. Welcome, King. He's a baby activist, as you guys know. But anyway, this topic is so hot, y'all. Like, I was going to go live and talk about it on my little platform later on, but I might as well talk about it now. Diddy is in a whole lot of trouble. And let's be clear, it's not about Viacom and BET and everything else he was trying to buy. Do you guys realize the case of you-know-who just reopened? Whose case? Tupac. Right after 27 years. Who is the main character up for questioning? So a lot of this stuff is not coincidental. I don't think it's just about, which I agree though, about BET and different things like that. I do kind of agree. But here's the part that really scares me about that. Yes, women, we need our rights, right, to come out and say whether sexual activity or sexual harassment is a thing in the workplace, etc. But a black man is the premise right now, and that's the scary part, because black men are always getting thrown under the bus. So it seems as if he is in a very bad predicament, but I also want to say this, that I hope black men everywhere are watching, because a lot of times when black men do get in power, and it's not all black men, they tend to get a little hotty in the head, right? You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, let's be very clear. This should be an example for all black men. Not just about the money, but about self-respect, dignity, etc. We talked about Trump tonight, right? We as black people still are not free, y'all. So when the black man tries to do the same thing that Trump or anybody else does in power, etc., it doesn't work. It never has and it never will. So just understand that I hope that the men that are watching tonight are understanding that this is something that they have to comprehend. You are not the same as Trump, as Ladner, as whoever else be walking through this door. You're a black man in America. Stay focused, keep your hands to yourself, respect your heads, respect your life. because it matters. Thank you, and God bless.
Very good point. Thank you.
Okay. Come here. Oh, sorry.
He's okay.
My God.
So happy.
New life is always beautiful. Well, as a gentleman with the men's auxiliary and different things and running around.
Talk in the mic so you can.
Oh, as a gentleman with the men's auxiliary and in different places, this question makes me think about reparations. You know, when a person is traumatized by someone else, does it really matter how long it takes them to get the guts to say something? Like, really? I don't think so. So I think from that standpoint of view, any individual that is hurt should be able to get reparations for it whenever they have the strength or the unction to come forward about it. Now, whether or not it's right for them to get something or they're making it up, now I don't know that part. But if it's true, in fact, that this happened, then yeah, they should be able to get that trauma dealt with.
Thank you. Clap it up, clap it up.
So, for me, I don't have anything negative to say about what happened with the female. I'm just saying that Diddy has launched a political party called Our Black Party with the goal of unifying African Americans being a single agenda. During the conversation, Diddy said a major motivation for creating the party comes from his disillusionment with the current political system, and that was in 2020. He has continued to push for creating his own political party, like Candace Owens with Black Sit. And when he was in California, you know, connecting with, you know, you gotta just pay attention to the moves. That's all I'm saying, okay? This is a black man getting with other men of power with money, okay? And they always gonna look for your vices, okay? These guys, they in the industry, they're around underage girls, acting grown, or whatever they doing, they putting them wherever, and then when you start trying to make some moves, it's there. It's happen or not happen, you still trying to do something, and they saying you got dirt, okay? So it's just a problem, but it's more to it than it is. You know, that's what we're saying. You gotta keep up what's in the news, because I'm very appreciate that Nan talked about this, because it is a conversation, it is viral, people are talking about it, okay? So I'm very happy that you did bring it up, that you did decide to just go with it, and I feel that, yes, you can always say that we're thinking of conspiracies, we're putting it with, you know, Bill Cosby and this and that, but the bottom line is it did happen. These are money moves that's gonna stop now, right? Or if we don't highlight the other parties, right? So we do have people trying to do other political parties. We say, okay, we don't want Democrat, we don't want Republican, we want this, we want that. We just should talk about it. So that's what I would say.
How you doing, Huddle?
Hey.
All right, so basically, I'm glad the act was passed, simply because a lot of people are abused. You would be surprised if you. I'm not exactly sure of exact statistics, but more people are abused than you can imagine. And because they are made to feel ashamed if they tell, they keep quiet. And unfortunately, this allows the abuser to keep going on abusing other people. You understand? So what happens is, with the abuser not being tried and convicted and having to do time, he just keeps it on. And you will be surprised that there is one person that has abused so many people. Like, I was looking at I remember Jeff Epstein had a TV show on Netflix. Like, I think it was not Surviving R. Kelly, but like Surviving Epstein. And it was so bad, they had girls going out, getting paid $200 to go and recruit more girls, telling them that, oh, just give this guy a massage and he'll pay you. And it was more to it than that. So I think with this act being put into place, more women and men, because a lot of people don't realize men are abused too sometimes. Like I remember Terry Crews was being one to speak up about it, but then he, they tried to blackball him, but they couldn't. You understand? But they did to a certain extent. It affected his career. But I think with this particular act being passed, more women are given, more people who are abused are given the courage to come out. Now, as far as Cassie and Diddy goes, there are rumors, a lot of rumors about Diddy being like an absolute monster. Now, we don't know for sure because we're not there. However, the amount of stories that's coming out and hearing Cassie's side, it's like sometimes when people are so powerful and they make so much money, they can do whatever they want to. And no one will say anything because guess what? You want to have a career in the music business, well, you got to go to the director's couch. And if not, then you're not going to have a career. Unfortunately, that is what happens a lot of times on a lot of young girls. I remember hearing about even with Aaliyah on a bus, like somebody walking in, and R. Kelly and her were in the middle of things. And nobody believed it because she was so young, but unfortunately, that's how they are. That's how they're predators. I'll be honest with you. And if you don't expose them for being a predator, guess what? They have more prey because nobody recognizes they're a predator. So with this act being passed, I'm glad it was passed, and I hope more people have the courage to come forward and go ahead and press charges against the abuser, because honestly, it needs to stop. Like, sex has nothing to do with a person's talent. And for some reason, they're all intertwined. Like, if you want this deal, come see me in my hotel room. And it's like, come on, man. My lawyer will look at the contract you have, and we'll see if it's the best deal. But my lawyer's not coming to your hotel room. And I think it needs to be more business oriented. And then again, like, we need to educate ourselves a little bit more too about the business and about law, so that these situations, when they come up, we can deal with them right away without the fear of backlash. It kind of reminds me of the Whistleblower Act, where people find out things that corporations are doing, and then they tell and they get in trouble. But now there's an act that protects them. So I'm glad this act is there. And let's get these predators out of here. That's it.
Well, I don't know too much about like the Diddy situation, but like from what it sounds like, but you never know, cause you said how like they broke up or whatever happened and this and that, so you never know. Maybe she just trying to get back at him and ruin his career, cause how you said like in the court, like it's a undisclosed amount of money, so it might have been like, here, just take the bread and just leave me alone and da 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 da. But at the same time, it's like, when you look at Diddy, it's like a lot of people that he been around that had fame like him, they passed away. Like you look at like you look at Biggie Smalls, like Craig Mack, even like Pop Smoke. He was around him too, and he died like right after he met Diddy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. But you don't really know until you know. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of unknowns, but there's a lot of known knowns. You know? That makes sense.
Yeah, that's crazy. Somebody said
Okay,
Albie is alive.
All right, so just to can you read the part of the length, just 1 year, just to.
Okay, so this legislation creates a 1-year look-back period dating 6 months from the signing. It allows sexual assault survivors over 18 at the time of the attack to sue their alleged abusers no matter when it occurred.
And the time they have to do it is?
1 year.
1 year. Okay, so what the brother just said, you see how he was saying you got the rumors that's out there. And let's be clear, this is not just a one-sided thing. Like someone said, men also can come back. Because one thing that's happening now, and whether it's music or film, like for instance, Chris Brown. Chris Brown was with a young lady, and it was consensual. This woman tried to bait him and have an argument with him and try to get money out of him for him forcefully doing it. And Chris Brown pulled up the NDA that she signed and the text that she wanted it. Live on social media. This is how he had to protect himself.
But with that act, within the time it happened, he can file charges or file a civil suit against that girl. Whether she has money or not isn't the case. It's just putting it on paper and on black and white. Because I know a lot of people say it happens to men too, and I know people be like, well, give us some examples of when it happened to men. And that's one right there. So when we're talking about the actual law that's passed and the situation, that's what I mean. Now, maybe I shouldn't, because we talked about this in the back, because we wanted to point out the fact that black men like Diddy, Bill Cosby, people that are in positions of, black men that are in a position of power, and not only are they in positions of power and wealth, but they're trying to do things that will put them in the same rooms as the powers that be or whoever. When they try to make these moves, all of a sudden, these so-called skeletons come out or people come out of the woodworks talking about stories that happened way back when, and you're kind of torn because it's like you want this black man and this black woman in position of power to, go soar and go high. But if it's true what this black man and this black woman did, whether in power or not, they need to be penalized and they need to be brought to justice. Now, with Cassie doing what she did for the past 2 weeks, filing a civil lawsuit for $30 million, bringing out all these women and all these old videos of people talking about what Diddy did or didn't, but all these women that probably went through what Cassie did with their own situation. And for her and her attorneys to take a deal and just take a buyout and go, that brought so many women, it brought so many women down. Like, what? You mean to tell me you just got us all riled up? We got your back. We hashtag Cassie, save Cassie, protect Cassie, and you just take a payout? And now the men are like, see, like, and then it becomes a back and forth between black men and black women and black social media. Now we at each other's necks again over something that we really know nothing about, but all we see is a woman putting, I know Cassie is technically not a black woman, but she dealt with a black man, and she filed this lawsuit, and then she backed out, took the payday, and now this man, all his skeletons, things that people probably forgot about, is back out, talking about Diddy again, and he got a hit. This man has children. They said this man killed his own child's mother. Diddy has 3 kids by Kim Porter, Christian and twin daughters. And they're saying that this man killed his children's mother, and he would have to wake up and look at Christian, Delilah, and Jesse every day. People on the net just saying, Diddy killed Kim Porter because she was coming out with a book about all his secrets when people have been telling his secrets for the past 30 years. So I'm going to kill my child's mother instead of everybody else that been bringing it up. Like, this is what they do, and this is what they perpetuate, and it comes in black social media, and this is what we do to each other. This doesn't happen on Latino social media, Caucasian, Asian social media. They don't do this type of stuff. That's what we're trying to point out. We all know about Biggie, everybody. There's more than Biggie. There's a lot of things happen to a lot of people. It's not about just one person. It's about a bunch of people. So that's what we're trying to point out and make people understand.
Yeah, Mo.
Hi, I just wanted to say that bringing back about this case, I didn't like that they didn't say if they have a police report, number one. Number two, biblical prophecy, they're making the media look like the harlot because she got so much attention. All of a sudden there was a settlement. Was there a police report? Because
They said that the NYPD came out and said there was no police report on an investigation.
so I believe I'm one of those Me Too women, and I can't find an attorney, and that makes me upset because it's not only in show business. The show business modeled all the other professions, and they started to use a casting couch with a lot of women and men to have some kind of favor to get a job. So my opinion is the law and all this violence is somebody had to make a police. I had a police report a while ago, and I was taken to the hospital, and the DA never went after this guy or told me to go after it, which later on he abused a lot of other people. So you need a police report. You can't just have hearsay 10 years ago somebody had their way with them and you want to sue. We have to have the law black or white, on paper black and white, not just hearsay. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to touch on a few things. What she said about the law, and you got to have it written down, that's a true statement. Because everything that happens, you have to have a paper trail. If you don't have documents, they're going to start questioning you left and right. And to the other young lady who came up here and was talking about men, well, let me explain something to you. Every time a woman alleges that a man sexually abused her or beat her, and they got money, it becomes an issue. And they take them to court. Now, if you all know anything about Michael Jackson was accused of something, and Sony Records paid, not Michael Jackson. Sony Records paid. So you don't know who paid what, and also when somebody pays, it's called a gag order. They're not supposed to say anything about what happened or how much they got. And once they do that, then they in breach of that contract, and they can be sued reverse of what they were suing for. So, and anytime when any man and woman is in a scuffle, regardless if he got any money or not, it's a scuffle. If she called rape or sexual abuse or battery, and she could prove a little bit, not a lot, a little bit, because he's a black man, the cops will take him away quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's no thing. Now, you got a record, and you got to prove that you're innocent. And sometimes when you're waiting to go to jail or waiting to go to court, you wind up 6 months later sitting in jail, and even if they find out that you're innocent, you did 6 months in jail, and you still got a record. Okay, so, I mean, nobody knows him, nobody knows her, so you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt unless you find evidence to convict him.
Thank you.
So to add on to what I said earlier, is also like when you have to have enough evidence for one, you know, in any case, in the paperwork and things that you're talking about, but also when a person is found guilty and they're given their sentence, you know, they're sent to deal with the past, future, and present tense. They're sent to deal with what they did, and if you know, if they're doing like the gentleman who choked out Floyd, and just saying, "Oh no, I got to get away," they're not even taking accountability for what they've done. So if they got 100 years, as long as they're fighting to get out of it and don't want to deal with the fact that they've done something, you know. So this goes back into, you know, we have to deal with the psychology of mind, and a lot of people. Just think about it. We say it as humans all the time. Hurt people hurt people. You understand? Hurt people hurt people. So, well, somebody's going to do it. Somebody did it to me. I'm going to do it. And this got to stop. This really got to stop. So then you won't even have a situation where you got to look back and say, "Oh, well, we're going to let you come back. Yeah, 100 years." You know, we got to stop it. We got to nip it in the bud from even happening. It's already been happening. So what do we got left to nip it in the bud with? We're in the youth huddle. We got the children that are the future.
Thank you.
Nah, I was gonna say like back to like the Diddy thing. I feel like the reason why everybody like really arguing about it is because like hip hop and all that, like that's really like that's a black thing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, that's a black thing. You know what I'm saying? Black people listen to hip hop music, so was their situation. If it is a publicity thing, maybe it's something, or she's trying to ruin his career or something like that. Maybe they trying to just get clout off of it, and then they just targeting our community to give them the clout, to build it up, you know? And if that's true, then it's so real that they got us too right now, if that's the case. You feel what I'm saying? That's how true it is. You know, you gotta think about it like that. You feel me?
That's true. Thank you.
Hi. My feeling on Diddy is he could have done it, he could have not done it. I remember Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and she said a whole lot of things, and it wasn't true. So for me, women or men, just like you said, men get it sexually assaulted, and so do women. And it's something that you said. You said why you have to do a police report. Police report. I'm a victim of SA, and there was no police report. In my mental state of mind, I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with the embarrassment. I didn't want to deal with people not believing me. And then something happened to me when I was 12 years old, SA, in school. And that wasn't good for me. So sometimes it's not always mentally that you're thinking, call the cops, do a police report. Sometimes it's not always open that you would want to do that. But I think that our law, men and women, you need to protect yourself with that law because you could be guilty or not guilty. So my things, I think we just need to pray for Diddy and everybody else, but we have bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, that's well said. Sister, you'll be the last comment tonight. Thank you.
I'm going back on the police report, only because when I had a situation of SA some odd years ago, and I actually went to a doctor to talk to them about it. The doctor told me to get a report. When I went to the precinct, they denied me. So you can't just automatically assume a person didn't try to get a report. We don't know what she did. And number two, I spoke to 3 different officers in the same precinct, and they all denied me. And I don't know if it was like, well, we all got to say no because this person said no, because then now we're going to look like if I say yes, because then I would have escalated that and been like, well, why are you saying yes and why are you saying no? So for me to go to a doctor and the doctor saying, no, you need to do this because X, Y, and Z, because like the woman that just went up, sometimes your mental state is not really, you know what I mean, registering like that. And on top of that, unfortunately, there's a lot of cases with SA, DV, or other situations where police officers don't take it seriously. And they will dismiss a person and blow it off. And they just, they give you that nonchalant attitude that it's so disgusting, you don't even want to go in there and deal with them. You know, and I'm not saying that this is all cases, but it does happen. So we don't know exactly what this young lady did. Obviously, she's a celebrity, so her business is not privy to us. Only her close friends would know what happened, when it happened, and what she took, you know, actions on or what she didn't take actions on. The fact that it's coming out right now, maybe she did try to bring it out before, and it wasn't as successful. We just don't know.
Thank you. I can't hear anything you're saying. Thank you. All right, well, obviously, we know that this topic definitely is a hot one and something that we feel passionate about, but it's also important, like I said, to understand policy and how, things go into play when these instances occur, how people are protected behind policy, and how the justification process works for accountability. Yes, ma'am. One last thing. I'm closing this.
That's equivalent. Speaking the mic. I think that's equivalent to all things. It doesn't only just happen in cases like this. We were talking about things that happen to our people. Inequality, unjustly. It happens across the board in all areas, especially to our people. And when you got money, we don't know what happened with P. Diddy. A lot of people saying he did. A few maybe saying he didn't. but it's about the almighty dollar. When it all is said and done, how much money you got, and who's gonna benefit?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can we give everybody a wonderful round of applause? We have come to the close of our huddle right before the 8:30 mark. And so y'all can stay seated this week. I saw Mo's face in the video when I said stand for prayer last week, but y'all can stay seated this week. And I'm going to ask that Patrice, if you don't mind, closing us in prayer. Thank you. Let's give Patrice a hand as she comes.
Thank you, Christian, for another great huddle. All hearts and minds are clear, all bodies are still as we give reverence to our God, for he alone is worthy. Let us pray. Most gracious and wise God, we thank you for this season of Thanksgiving. We thank you for the National Youth Huddle here at the National Action Network. God, you've been with us for 9 years. You've touched many lives. You've moved in many lives, God. We thank you. We ask you right now, God, to continue to touch everyone that comes in here on Monday, everyone that's watching, everyone that helps plan and prepare. God, we thank you for our founder, Ashley Sharpton. God, we ask you to continue to bless her and our co-founder, Dominique Sharpton. God, continue to bless all the officers. Continue to bless all of those that feed us food every week. And God, even in this season, some people may wake up depressed, but have them remember to look up and realize that you are still the same God. We ask you to watch over us as we go to our homes, that they are like we left them. We ask you to continue to bless each and every person this week. Some people, again, are depressed, but God, give them some peace. And if they feel anything else, help them to say, peace, be still. Oh God, we ask this in nothing but your matchless name. And all of your children said, amen.